Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Krsna Chaitanya, Radha Krsna Narayana, Shri Krsna Chaitanya, Radha Krsna Narayana. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shiva Sare Gauravathanda. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Jaya Jaya Puraka. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestayate. Haribol Namaste. Haribol Namaste. Okay, listen carefully. I'll read first the teachings of Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, these two great Vaishnavas or devotees, representative of Lord Chaitanya, confidential friend of Lord Chaitanya, our instructing spiritual master, gives us these teachings coming from Lord Chaitanya so we can be focused and assured how we can be connected with loving the Supreme Person in loving reciprocation. So how do we connect ourselves with the Supreme Person? Through sound. Sound is very powerful. Our exposure in this material world through our senses has conditioned our mind according to the influence of the three modes of material nature that has covered us. So the sound we have heard has a great impact upon our decision making, our outlook, our goals. So there is this transcendental sound that is not different from God that can purify us from this misconception of false bodily identification and cure us from this material disease of materialism, because God Himself comes as the transcendental sound, the holy names, and if we want to be in that world of harmony, to have a peaceful heart, wherein our love that is inseparable from us can be in harmony, in loving reciprocation with the desire of Lord Krishna. In the nectar of devotion, what is japa? Japa. Chanting a mantra or hymn softly and slowly is called japa, and chanting the same mantra loudly is called kirtan. For example, uttering the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, very softly, only for one's hearing, is called japa. Chanting the same mantra loudly for the being heard by all others is called kirtan, what we did a while ago. When japa is practiced, it is for personal benefit of the chanter. But when kirtan is performed, it is for the benefit of all others who may hear. In the Padma Purana, there is a statement, for any person who is chanting the holy names either softly or loudly, the paths to liberation and even heavenly happiness are at once open. So, after doing softly the japa mantra together with all of you, then we'll have a short kirtan. Then I'll read the prayers of Akrura, a Vaishnava, a spiritual master, so we can be assured he is one of the authorities, one of the many authorities who gives guidance. Lord Brahma, the creator of this universe, Narada Muni, the traveling spiritual master, Paramahamsa, the instructing spiritual master coming from the line of disciplic succession, and our spiritual master, Jagad Guru Siddhaswarupananda Prabhupada. So let's do japa together, softly, for about a minute, so we can have a recall of what is japa. So I'll chant the Mahamantra. Mahamantra means the great chanting for deliverance. Mantra. Mantra, mind. The mind can be delivered towards the lotus feet of Lord Krishna in loving supplication. And it gives fulfillment to the heart, purifies the heart, and we experience connection with the source of happiness and joy. Okay? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Together softly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that is japa meditation. It can be done. It can be done personally, anywhere, any place, and you can do it by using the tongue, the ear, and chanting the Maha Mantra, the hymn of pure devotional loving service that purifies the heart. So now, another process that we are doing every day is kirtan. Japa is for one's personal benefit, so you can say the mantra according to your convenience. Before sleeping, when you wake up, when you're spacing out, or you just want to focus upon your relationship with the Supreme Person. So japa mantra, japa meditation is a process that connects the mind with the Supreme Person. So the kirtan will do it. You can use musical instruments, but if you don't have musical instrument, you can just sing. It does not matter if your voice is very nice or your voice is out of tune or, does not matter. But the important is that you sing the holy names, and the hearer, the singer, and those who hears the sound are all benefited, because it's like the sun rays that shines on all of us. So when we come in contact with the sun, everything becomes clear. So it's also like that. So when we chant the holy names, the desert heart that we have, the lips, the desert tongue that we have, which is parched and painful because the lips are broken, blood coming out because of the desert, dry sun, wherein we are so much immersed and trying to find life, the experience of pain, the agony of death, the pain of living a life of emptiness. So it is a process of entering the oasis and tasting the water that will give this empty heart, our heart, the water we long for, the relationship with the Supreme Person in loving reciprocation, devotional service. So, devotional service is the chanting of the holy names of God. Let's chant together. I'll sing. The process is I sing and you answer, then I answer, okay? Let's chant for a short while. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The answer. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribol, that's kirtan. You can use different tunes, you can use musical instruments, but in case there's no musical instruments and you're together with your family members, your friends, you can sit down and chant together, and it will benefit the hearer and those who are hearing the holy names. We have this program, we do the feeding, we do kirtan for the benefit of all the living entities who are in that proximity. The human form, animal forms, any forms. Because the sound, the Maha Mantra, Krishna, is non-different from God Himself. It is the supreme purifier that purifies one from this disconnection of having a close, loving relationship with the Supreme Person. So if we engage in Japa Yoga every day and the Maha Mantra Kirtan every day, then we will derive great benefit. And what are those benefits? The purification of one's heart, the disease of materialism, the false ego of trying to play Lord, the mind that is always covering us, guiding us towards this ignorance of false bodily identification can be curbed, because Krishna, the cause of all causes, will be the ones guiding us to be connected in that world of loving meditation and in actual relationship of prayerful surrender to Him. So I'll read here the teachings coming from our instructing spiritual master, the prayer of Akrura. During the pastimes of Lord Krishna, he comes here playing the role of Krishna's uncle. But he is one of the Mahajana, or the instructing spiritual master, who gives us the guiding principle, the buoy, the direction to be focused, wherein our love, our life can be sheltered in the hands of the Supreme Person, our life in loving devotion. My dear Lord, everyone within the material world is conditioned by your illusory energy, under the impression of false identification, false possession. Everyone is transmigrating from one body to another, meaning passing from one body to another. It is not hard to understand. As you sow, you shall reap. So at the time you leave this body, what meditation, what focus you have, you'll be given that corresponding body. But even in this lifetime now, while we are traveling in this universe through this vehicle, we can see that we have already passed through different bodies. We were once in the body when we were in the womb of our mother. When we come up, we come out of that womb to get covered by the body, childhood body, baby body, childhood body, young girl's body, young lady's body, middle-aged body, old body. You can look back and trace. You have passed through different bodies. They're all dead and gone. Now you're in this body now. I'm in this vehicle now because of metabolism. The food I take replenish the dead matter through cellular metabolism and physical. I take food, and we can see that every day dead matter is being excreted out of our body in the form of urine, in the form of, hair growing, nails growing, being excreted out of the body, perspiration. So when we begin to understand our true natural, transcendental nature as eternal, we begin to question, why am I here? Why am I struggling so hard to cling to something that cannot be clung on, that cannot be my shelter, because I'm just continually passing, traveling. I am falsely thinking myself happy in possessing my home, wife, children, state, property, and effects. In this way, I am acting as if I am in a dreamland, because none of these are permanent. I am a fool to be always absorbed in such thoughts, accepting them as permanent and true. My dear Lord, due to my false identification, I have accepted everything which is non-permanent, such as this material body, which is not spiritual and is the source of all kinds of miserable condition. Being bewildered by such concept of life, I am always absorbed in thoughts of duality, and I have forgotten you who are the reservoir of all transcendental pleasure. I am bereft of your transcendental association, and I am just like a foolish creature who goes in search of water in the desert, leaving the water spot which is covered by water-nourished vegetables. The conditioned soul wants to quench their thirst, but they do not know where to find water. They give up the spot where there is actually a reservoir of water and run into the desert where there is no water. My dear Lord, I am completely incapable of controlling my mind, which is now driven by the unbridled senses and is attracted by the fruitive activities and their result. My dear Lord, your lotus feet cannot be appreciated by any person in the conditional stage of material existence. But somehow or other, I have come near your lotus feet, and I consider this to be your causeless mercy. I can thus understand that when a person becomes eligible to be delivered from the path of repeated birth and death, it is only by your causeless mercy, and he further progresses to become attached to your causeless devotional service. Krsna fell down before the Lord and said, My dear Lord, your transcendental eternal form is full of knowledge. Simply by concentrating one's mind upon your form, one can understand in full knowledge everything that be, because you are the original source of all knowledge. You are the supreme powerful, possessing all kinds of energies. You are the supreme Brahman, the supreme person, supreme controller, and master of the material energies. I offer my obeisances, respectful obeisances unto you because you are Vasudev, Krsna, the resting place of all creation. You are all-pervading Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are the Supreme Soul residing in everyone's heart and giving direction to act now. My Lord, I am completely surrendered unto you because please give me your protection. For so long, our surrender is upon following the dictates of the mind, surrendering to the illusory energy. We have misdirected, misused our true, transcendental, eternal activities that we can be engaging in, which is natural for us to serve and love God. In the transcendental world of pure devotional service, we are in harmony with pleasing and loving the Supreme Person, and in parallel, one-pointedly doing, loving the Supreme Person. But in a conditioned state, we are also servant. In pure devotional service, it is our natural world of engaging in loving service, in loving surrender, in pleasing and reciprocating with the Lord by loving Him. But if we become covered, because the living entity, us, we have this minute freedom, but because we are not all powerful, we try to imitate God. But in either case, we are still servants. Because if we become servants, we all of us, we become servant of this false world of illusion, wherein we are now slaves of illusion, Maya. We will be serving by force. So, we must understand that we're eternally the servant of God. Either we're in harmony, in loving, in engaging in what is pleasing, what is very fulfilling, wherein our heart is connected with the desire of loving the Supreme Person, in loving reciprocation, in doing what is pleasing to Him, under the guidance of His confidential loving servants, our eternal friends who have unconditional love for us, or we will be guided by force by an energy that we try to control, thinking we are Lord. But in the end, we become servant. we become servant of lust because the love that we have is now covered and misdirected upon this temporary world. Life as a different energy from matter, trying to fulfill what we think falsely. We are misdirected to fulfill it in the material dimension. And in the process, we become servant of the senses. We are forced now to engage in those activities that is detrimental to our own well-being, because we are now focused upon this death world, and now we are engaging in fruitive activities, and the promise of enjoyment of the fruits, of tasting those fruits, have a reaction, and that will be the cause of our staying in this miserable world, life after life. So I'll read here the state of consciousness of someone who is in harmony with that word of love. Previously, we talked about salvation, about our selfishness to be saved from suffering. Then we discuss about bhakti, to be sheltered under the supreme protection of our eternal friend, the Supreme Person, who has unconditional love for us. Now I'll read this. When we do japa, we are focusing our mind. And the mind now begins to be directed upon focusing upon what is pleasing to the Supreme Person. And if we do japa yoga, the mind is very hard to control, but the mantra can direct and control the mind. It's not through our own power. God Himself will be controlling the mind and directing it. If we do the japa yoga, because it purifies us from this misconception of false bodily identification, and it connects us with what we're searching for, the joy of having a loving relationship in purity with our eternal loving friend, Lord Krsna. These Krishna conscious persons are free from material desires. Those who are liberated theoretically simply know that the living entity is not made of material element. You can know you're not the body, but it is us who should do the work. Nobody can do the work for us. Nobody can experience what is love until and unless we reciprocate. Meaning, we make a move to be in harmony with that love. And activities that is favorable is loving surrender, taking shelter of the Supreme Person, offering everything back to Him what belongs to Him, rendering prayers, offering our life favorable in having a relationship with the Supreme Person. And the japa yoga we do enhances that, because God Himself, who tells us, love me, serve me, comes to us through the holy names. And when we do kirtan, it purifies us and those who hears. And we become very dear to Lord Krsna because we glorify the activities of the devotees and the glories of Krishna. And He tells us directly, there will be no one dearer to me than someone who's speaking my glories. So if you love someone, you glorify that person. You praise that person, and that person, the Supreme Person, becomes very pleased. Because when we glorify the Supreme Person, it means we are receiving in humbleness, caring for the instruction, the effort of His loving servant to connect us, our spiritual master, to that word of love, who guides us. Our spiritual master guides us. And we become, and Lord Krishna becomes very pleased because we begin to have an amiable, loving relationship with this confidential friend who is eternally serving Him, who loves Him unconditionally, who is our teacher, who tells us how to engage in the loving service of the Supreme Person. What we do is all for Him because He's a teacher by example. He teaches us how to love God, and He is heavy laden with love. So, by associating with someone who's heavy laden with love, we are blessed because we become purified. We are touched, this invisible, transcendental relationship that cannot be seen by the eye, through associating with someone whose life is 100% devoted, focused in pleasing the Supreme Person, the bona fide spiritual master. It purifies us. It gives us a longing to be wanting to have what He has, to be in that world. That is the potency of the pure lover of God. So the motivation of His preaching, of His giving us Krishna, is by giving us Krishna Himself, the Supreme Purifier. And the process is based upon freedom. So that is the difference between salvationism and those who propagate salvationism. They put fear in our hearts. So because we are very selfish, we become fearful. And that relationship is full of fear. And we cannot be able to understand if we follow such individuals who are teaching fear of God. Because how can you surrender to God? How can you embrace to God? How can you be unconditionally putting your head, bowing down, and praying in humbleness? My dear Lord, I am a very sinful person. I have rejected you. I have turned my face away from you. I tried to imitate you. But even though I'm in this state, you're still there, waiting. And because your love for me is unconditional, I know if I simply follow my spiritual master's instruction to engage in japa yoga and the kirtan, I make one move. You are always there to make 100 moves toward 100 steps toward me. You have this conviction, you have this faith, because it becomes an actual realization and experience that when we do japa, our longing for God increases. Our meditation becomes one-directed, one-pointed. Our whole being now is being guided by the instruction of someone who's loving the Supreme Person, and the direction we are focusing is about an experience of experiencing that love. And what are those? It is the experience of compassion. It is the experience of God's love for me, that it is unconditional. The grace of God is always there, waiting for me to come back to Him. And the process is the japa yoga and the kirtan. The Lord continued to explain Lord Chaitanya, who propagates the Japa Yoga and the Sankirtan, the chanting, the Maha Mantra, he's giving this instruction to our instructing spiritual master who put it into this narrative, into this book, translated in English for us by our instructing spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, the dearmost spiritual master, the heart, the life of our spiritual master. The Lord continued to explain that in this way, many thousands and millions of living entities are wandering in this material world, and some of them, by the grace of Lord Krsna and the spiritual master, can get the seed of devotional service. The pious or religious man is generally inclined to worship the deities in various temples, and if by chance he offers obeisances and worshipable respect to Lord Krsna, even without his knowledge, he receives the favor of a Vaishnava. The spiritual master, the devotee, loves Lord Krsna. And if you offer obeisances, you follow the desire of Lord Krsna, He blesses you. That's why when Jesus Christ comes to this world, He tells the followers who are listening to Him, if you reject me, the Father who sent me will reject you. If you follow my teachings, then the Father who loves all of us will be very pleased. And you will be guided, you will be protected. It's a relationship. And this great opportunity comes to us. After many, many lifetimes, we cannot remember anymore while we are traveling in this universe. Through the use of this body, this illusory world that is temporary becomes clear to us. Yes, why am I here? How come I am trying to grasp something that I cannot really hold on? And even the avenue or even the method I use or the facility I use to grasp this temporary illusory world is also temporary in illusion, because you can be holding all the wealth that you have worked so hard, that you have misused the temporary, the greatest opportunity, time, which is God Himself, His mercy, while you are in this body, and you misuse it to hold on to something that is illusory, not real. The forms, matter is real, but the forms you see are not real. They're all illusory. And even the body, I embrace the body of my wife. I love you. I leave the body. The body is embracing. What if I embrace the body? My wife leaves. And I cry, Mommy, honey, lovey-do, how come you left me? Then what happens? The body stinks, it breaks down. Burn it, put it in the grave. But Maya or illusion is very strong because we have been conditioned. Maya or illusion, the illusory energy, matter, has become our master for so long. That's why when we see somebody leaves the body, oh, she died, she's very young. Not seeing our mortality in this body. Not appreciating that we're also in this same boat as she has been. She just left earlier. And now, all of you here, me, anytime, no guarantee I'll be staying, talking to you, eating the food, staying in this place. So when we do japa, everything becomes clear. You begin to ask questions in your life. Yes, I'm eternal. How come I'm wasting my time, my energy to hold on to something that I cannot hold? And the method I use, this body is not also, cannot hold anything. Why will I waste my life, my time, and experience the pain of separation from God? So now, this pain, this separation, this sadness, this distress, this anxiety, this nervous breakdown we experience every day can be transcendental when we do japa. Because when we sing the holy names of God, we chant the holy names of God, our longing for transcendental and eternal becomes so strong that our heart, our life becomes one focus and pointed into embracing God through His holy names. The perfection of yoga, the devotion, is now fixed when our life, our love, is completely one-pointedly in loving surrender, in humbleness, in surrendering, loving service to the Supreme Person. Last. The causeless mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is first appreciated when one is in touch with the bona fide spiritual master who can enlighten the conditioned soul of the highest position of devotional life. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya said that by mercy of the spiritual master, one can achieve the causeless mercy of the Lord. And by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can get the mercy of a bona fide spiritual master. So at the time we come in contact with the devotee, the confidential loving servant of God, he gives us instruction. He tells us, love the Supreme Person, chant the holy names. And when we follow him, just chant, then Krsna sees it. Because we have appreciated the effort, the service, the love of his confidential friend. And we take it by heart, we hold it by heart, and appreciate it. And hold on to his instruction. Krsna becomes pleased. So, God is person. God is love. And love is a loving reciprocation. It is a relationship. Completely different from salvation. So while we are in this world, we can be in that world of pure transcendental devotional service when our meditation, the direction of our mind, our heart, our whole being is in that world of chanting the holy names through japa meditation and kirtan. To enter the world of pure devotional service, receive the holy names, chant the holy names, and follow the instruction of the spiritual master, because it is receiving God's mercy through following his instruction. That is what will help us be in the world of surrendering in sweetness and experiencing love for God. Haribol, Namaste. Thank you very much. Haribol! Haribol! Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestayate. Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Krsna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya. Bhajan Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sare Gaurabhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol, Krishna, Hare Bol. Hare Bol, everybody. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Bol Krishna, Hare Bol Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gora Karuna Sarupaya Hare Krishna Prestayate.